Thanks for stopping by.
Congressman Mike Levin of California, right there. Did you, hi everyone. Hi. How are you guys? Good to see you again. Did you bring me a beard this time, or what's the deal? Do you want to have?
It's a little early. I mean,
it's not noon yet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But I do. I have, good San Diego IPA, if you want.
San Diego.
Come visit anytime, Don.
Wales, we won't say that.
I won't say that. Anchorman Road.
Yeah, you know that.
When you come into the San Diego airport, you always know you're there when Ron Burgundy's...
Is this killing you?
Yeah.
Can we put that down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No problem. I want to have a good shot for you guys.
Yeah, you want to be able to see.
So if you go into San Diego airport, like when Jamie Raskin, my friend, wrote his book, he was there as one of the top best-selling books at that time, and I knew he had made it because he was next to the big Ron Burgundy cardboard cutout of the top books in the country.
Yes.
That greets you to San Diego airport.
Anytime. Jamie Raskin, you trust that guy?
I love Jamie. He's a dear friend of mine, and every summer our campaign participates in the Democracy Summer Fellows Program, which is how we bring young people into the campaign world. It's a great program, and we've been doing it now. Thank you. We've been doing it now for 5 or 6 years, and a lot of the people on the ground who have run our campaigns over the years come directly from that program. Yeah.
What do you have in your hand? Can you share?
I got a prop for you. So I wanted to just remind everybody of a Supreme Court case from 2017, since the First Amendment and free speech is very much in the news with what ABC decided to do to Jimmy Kimmel, that Samuel Alito actually in 2017 was one that said a bedrock First Amendment principle, speech may not be banned on the ground that it expresses ideas that offend. So this whole notion that the President of the United States or Brendan Carr or whomever is going to go after people with whom they disagree and try to jam networks like ABC to prevent people from expressing views that they disagree with, that is fundamentally un-American and should really just wake everybody up. Regardless of your politics, I think it should be a dashboard light, a red blinking light on the dashboard that this is not normal, this is not American. And the fact that these media companies are caving the way that they are, that's for you. I printed that out for you.
I agree. The fact that they're caving, I said it should send a chill up the spine of every single American. That's how I felt about this.
I agree with you. And again, this is Alito in 2017. Those are his words. I encourage you to take it to every Republican to the extent they're willing to talk with you and remind them that this is a bipartisan principle that has stood the test of time in this nation for 250 years. Mm-hmm. The First Amendment was added to the Constitution 4 years after the Constitution was drafted. We just celebrated Constitution Day. So we're talking about 1791, that it has been I think what has made America so strong, in part, has been the independence of the press and of people, whether it's for humor or for information, to be able to express their opinions. And it isn't to say that I agree, always with anybody, on one network or another, but it is fundamentally un-American to say they cannot express their views because we disagree with those views. Mm-hmm. So this is a red line here that we are looking at. And I think every member of Congress, regardless of their party, regardless of whether they thought Jimmy Kimmel was funny or not, doesn't matter. This is about who we are as Americans and what separates us as the United States of America from authoritarian nations, from autocracies. This is not okay. And so we are all, in our own ways, speaking up. But I think it's really, really important to know that, again, it was Alito. We're not talking about, one of the more liberal justices here standing up for that First Amendment.
Okay. So you know that the FCC chair was on CNBC this morning. And I'm going to play some of what he said, and I want to get your reaction since we're talking about this, okay?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so, and I have a couple of sound bites for you. So here it is. Hang on, let me put it up.
We'll see if the house Wi-Fi works. I hope so.
It doesn't seem like it's working. It was. I tell you, the Senate wasn't.
I guess I'd start off by asking, did you play a role in this beyond your public comments? I believe they took place yesterday morning on a podcast in which you said we can do this the easy way or the hard way in terms of changing conduct on Kimmel, or you said there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Was that enough, in your opinion, to spur this move by Disney, or were you involved beyond that?
I think there's a much bigger shakeup that's underway right now. I think people, again, try to focus narrowly on the specifics here. But if you just back up, I think ever since President Trump won the election, it's created a permission structure for markets, including the media market, to rationalize. And again, if you look at the ratings for late-night television, they've been in an absolute nosedive for years. But for some reason, these companies felt like they had to continue to subsidize it. And I think that's ending. And again, I think your viewers get this, but think about the business side of this. You have the national programmers, Disney, that create this content, and you've got individualized licensed TV stations all across the country, and they're required, they've been for years, required to respond to the needs of their local communities and viewers. I think it was those local communities and viewers that were saying, we don't like this stuff anymore. And so Nexstar was the first mover here. So we're going to preempt this program. We're going to black it out. Again, that's what you're supposed to do, a healthy, functioning market. So I think, again, people sort of focus on, narrow specifics, but much taking place right now in the media ecosystem. And frankly, I think that's a good thing.
Well, Donald Trump has found somebody in Brennan Carr. I've never met Brennan Carr, but from what I know of him, including that statement, that reaction, is that this is a guy willing to do whatever Donald Trump says. And the president is so sensitive to how he is portrayed, to how, whether it's late night comedians or whether it's, any broadcast journalist, what they may say about him. If he doesn't like it, he immediately tries to shut it down. And he is using his power in a wholly different way than we've seen any modern American president. Mm-hmm. Every president gets criticized. That's part of the job. Every member of Congress gets criticized. That's part of the job. But I would never say that, and obviously New York Times versus Sullivan is the standard. If you're a public figure, it's an incredibly high bar to be able to push back that it's defamatory or that it's violative of your rights. It's a very, very high standard for a public figure. And so what this is about is basically a personal grudge, whether it's against Stephen Colbert or against Jimmy Kimmel or against anybody that used to be on your network or on any of the other networks. If he doesn't hear what he likes, then now he's going to use the FCC to go after those folks. And that is just fundamentally wrong. And I think that ultimately I hope it gets adjudicated, and I hope the Supreme Court remembers the decision they had only 8 years ago.
The interesting thing is I was listening to some of the legal folks, and they said these in court, none of this would pass muster. Right. But we're not in court now. We're talking about companies who want their business not interfered with here in Washington, D.C., and so they are bowing. So I want you to respond to that, but I want you to listen to one more. Here it is.
My colleagues to remembering, though, the times of Johnny Carson. Now, again, to that point, Chairman, I mean, the administration in power was typically the subject of most of his jokes, as would seem to be the case now. I mean, these are comedians we're talking about. This is not the news.
Well, look, I can tell you, Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson, and the issue that arose here where lots and lots of people were upset was not a joke. It was not, making fun or pillaring me or the administration or the president. It was appearing to directly mislead the American public about a significant fact of probably one of the most significant political events we've had in a long time. It's really the most significant political assassination we've seen in a long time. And so I think
Well, back to what I said, what the Supreme Court has said, and what's been American precedent and law for over 2 centuries, which is you don't get, as the federal government, to shut down speech just because you disagree with it, or even if it's it rises to the level of being hateful. That has been asked and answered by the United States Supreme Court as recently as this case 8 years ago. What I hope happens is I hope that the president just decided to sue the New York Times for whatever it was, $15 billion. And I hope that the New York Times fights. I hope that they don't roll over. as many American universities decided, and as many American law firms decided. I learned when I was young, if you're getting bullied for your lunch money, you don't just keep handing over your lunch money. You got to fight back. And so today it's 15 million that they want from ABC. Tomorrow, what is it going to be? Where does this end? It doesn't end unless it's adjudicated and unless the courts put a stop to it, or these media organizations grow enough of a backbone to be able to stand up to this.
Yeah, you clean that up, because people will say, well, they're promoting violence. The old saying is, and no one means this, you know how you handle a bully, you punch him right in the nose. And we're not advocating anybody punches anybody.
We're not advocating any violence here.
Yeah, but
no,
that's the old
look,
saying.
When I see, for example, I used to work in a law firm, and I have friends from my law school. Some of them worked for law firms that stood and fought against what the administration was trying to do, and others just rolled right over and said, yes, sir, we're happy to do however much in pro bono legal services. So there is a choice that we make, and that choice is shaped by our values, who we are as human beings, what kind of a legacy we want to leave behind. And I always look at it through the lens, Don, of my two kids. They're 13 and 11, and I want them to stand on their values, stand on their principles, and do what they know to be right, even if it's not always convenient. Now, we're in a very unprecedented situation right now where major institutions, major businesses, they know all of this to be wrong, but they're unwilling or unable, in their view, to stand up for it. Whether because they think it's good business or because they have no choice, you'd have to ask them.
One more from Brendan Carr. He is the chair or the head of the Federal Communications Commission.
To the New York Times late Wednesday, I'm just quoting here, Sinclair, another owner of many local TV stations, said that it would also suspend Mr. Kimmel's program and called on Mr. Kimmel to apologize and make a meaningful personal donation to Mr. Kirk's family and the activist political group Turning Point USA. Do you think that's an appropriate remedy of the situation?
I think Sinclair has every right to call for that. Again, Sinclair affiliates with Disney. They take Disney contract. They have a contractual relationship with Disney, and that's between the two of them to figure out, what's going to make sense to make both of them comfortable with the relationship going forward. But again, over the years, it would be unthinkable for Sinclair, for Nexstar, for local TV stations to actually say, you know what? We're not going to take this particular programming that's coming out of New York and Hollywood and send it to Pennsylvania and Utah. And so the idea that local broadcasters feel like they can push back, I think that's a much, much healthier dynamic for the country right now.
I guess I would take a step back about this entire situation for a second, Don. So what I haven't heard a lot of my colleagues say, certainly on the other side, but frankly not enough, period, is that this is an opportunity for us in the wake of political violence that has impacted lives, not just Mr. Kirk's family, but also in Minnesota with the tragedy that occurred there with the speaker there and another person there. And you look back to what happened to Governor Shapiro. You look back on the attempted assassination of President Trump himself. Rather than point fingers, place blame, cast aspersions, this side or that side, how about we all agree that we prefer community over chaos, over this spiral to the bottom that we're observing. And all of us as elected leaders, I think, have a responsibility to use the positions that we have to try to bring people a little closer together as opposed to divide them further apart. I did not espouse any of the views. I didn't agree with virtually anything that Charlie Kirk stood for. However, he's a father, he's a husband, he is a person who, based on everything, seemed to love his country a great deal. And I think that to just, forget all of that, forget about our shared humanity, I think does a disservice. We can, I hope, come together around trying to prevent and stop political violence in all its forms, whether it's directed at one party or another is irrelevant to me. So I have done, frankly, all of this has caused soul searching for me, I think, for a lot of my colleagues, where the words we choose to use, particularly in the shifting media landscape, where the more controversial, outrageous, incendiary thing you can say, that is rewarded by, more and more and more. It was just so sad last week when we saw the screaming back and forth. Regardless of what I think about Charlie Kirk, regardless of what I think about the decision by Speaker Johnson to want a moment of silence or a moment of prayer, whatever that was, to have people screaming on both sides, I just sank in my chair because I said this makes our whole institution worse off. And people, whether we want to admit it or not, people do look to people in this institution for guidance and direction as they look down the street to Pennsylvania Avenue, for guidance and direction on how we as Americans should behave towards one another. And we are not, our political adversaries are not our enemies. They are our neighbors, they are our coworkers, they are our family members, and we better get our heads around treating each other with decency and humanity again before it's too late.
I don't disagree with you, but my opinion, I don't know if the other side actually believes and feels the way that you feel, or otherwise. If they did, we would not be where we are right now. Did you get to?
Well, let me push back on that. I think there's an overwhelming number on the other side that understands that political violence cannot be spiraling out of control, and you cannot have it be one side or the other side that is to blame, whether or not they are willing to say anything about it publicly versus what they say in private. Gets back to what you and I...
Isn't that's key? That's what I'm saying. That's what's key.
Well, it gets back to what you and I have discussed before, which is that you have a lot of members of the Republican conference who believe that if they get sideways with Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form, that Mike Johnson will not have their back. So if Donald Trump doesn't like this member or that, starts posting on True Social about them, wants to have a more MAGA candidate primary them, it's not like Mike Johnson's going to come rushing to their aid. And that's the feedback that I get directly from people across the aisle that I respect, although sometimes they make it tough.
We've taken up a lot of your time. Did you get to speak about everything you want to talk about?
Absolutely. Don, it's always good to see you, man.
You too. Can I keep this?
That's for you.
Thank you very much. This is amazing. We now hold that this provision violates the free speech clause of the First Amendment. It offends a bedrock. First of all, it says, this is the important part. It was about a patent and trade situation, right? They denied the application based on a provision of federal law prohibiting the registration of trademarks that may disparage or bring into contempt or disrupt any person living or dead. And then they said, no, we have to abide by the First Amendment.
And when you see what he said, what Alito says on the bottom of the first page, top of the second page, it is fundamentally an American
We now hold that this provision violates the free speech clause of the First Amendment. It offends a bedrock First Amendment principle. Speech may not be banned on the ground that expresses ideas that offend.
That's right, and that's regardless of who's in power, that's who's on TV or who's on social media. That is as American as it gets, and if we lose that, we have lost one of the real foundational principles that set us apart.
Thank you. Beers next time.
You got it, Don.
Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, what about what? Oh, something that's quick?
Yeah, just quick.
What do we want to talk about? Oh, so what do you think should happen with Jimmy Kimmel? Should he be back on the air?
Well, I think that ABC has a lot of explaining to do about why they decided to take him off the air. I think if it was for expressing his opinion, that is an insufficient reason. Just because Donald Trump didn't appreciate what he said or Brendan Carr didn't appreciate what he said, I think that at the end of the day, ABC has a lot of explaining to do. And I think that it is incumbent on companies and media outlets and organizations to, draw a line in the sand. Are they going to stand up to something that's antithetical to 250 years of American history around free speech? Or are they going to give in to an administration because they're, going to act on the basis of fear rather than on the basis of their values?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What was that buzz for?
Buzz? Oh, this is like glorified high school.
Oh,
so that just means that something's happening on the floor.
Oh, what time is it? It's noon, so this would be the fourth period. Oh no, it's lunch.
Recess, guys.
Thank you. Good to see you. Take care. Take care.
If you look after votes, when we all go out to the cars out on the platform, it totally looks like when I pick my kids up at school. It's true.